Welcome to the presentation of Unit 1.2, Sustainability for the Textile Sector of the first module, of the MOOC on Sustainable Textile, which has been prepared by Krethadev. In this unit, we will go through the topics of the overview of the textile industry, of sustainability in textile sector, of environmental impacts, of socioeconomic impacts, of the 6 targets for a sustainable textile industry, of how sustainability can be achieved in textile industry, of sustainable textile materials, and of business models for sustainability. Overview of the textile industry. The global fashion and textile industry is valued at approximately $2.5 trillion, while in EU, the textile and clothing sector had a turnover of €162 billion in 2019. To produce all clothing, footwear, and household textiles purchased by EU households in 2020, it is estimated that were used 175 million tons of primary raw materials, amounting to 391 kilos per person. The textile industry is employing over 1.5 million people across 160,000 companies, with almost 13 million full-time equivalent workers employed worldwide in the supply chain. That makes the textile industry the third largest employer worldwide, with most of the production taking place in Asia, where low production costs come at the expense of workers' health and safety. European households consume large amounts of textile products. In 2019, as in 2018, Europeans spent on average €600 on clothing, €150 on footwear, and €70 on household textiles. Sustainability in the textile sector. Sustainability encloses a set of practices and processes that aim to reduce environmental impacts, to promote social responsibility, while at the same time ensure the economic viability throughout the product lifecycle. The key goals include the minimization of carbon emissions, the optimization of water and energy usage, the waste reduction, and the uphold of fair labor standards. Environmental impacts. Textile industry depends heavily on fossil fuel, particularly during fiber production, yarn preparation, and fabric processing stages. Over 3.3 billion metric tons of greenhouse gases are emitted across the value chain per year. That is more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. The textile industry is also responsible for generating 20% of global wastewater. Another environmental impact is the contribution to deforestation. For example, from cellulose-based fibers, such as viscose and rayon, which are extracted from wood pulp. It is considered to be a highly resource-intensive production that requires about 79 billion cubic meters of water annually. Another environmental impact comes from excess use of chemicals. Cotton farming and textile production have strong dependence on chemicals, consuming about 24% of insecticides and 11% of pesticides used globally. The production of a single cotton shirt requires around 2,700 liters of water, an equivalent of the amount one person would drink over 2.5 years. Another impact in the environment derived from the substantial fabric waste during production and post-consumer phases, where 85% of textiles end up in landfills, equating to 21 billion tons annually. Fast fashion contributes further by promoting disposable, short-lived clothing, resulting in approximately 92 million tons of textile waste each year. Socioeconomic impacts. An important socioeconomic impact of the textile industry is the damage to human health from hazardous chemicals that are used and emitted all along the textile value chain. The potential for ingestion and inhalation of microfibers in humans and their possible impacts on human health are of emerging concern. Another impact is the unequal access to resources, education, and healthcare. Other impacts include the risk of child labor, forced labor, excessive working time, below minimum wage pay, gender inequality, and conflict. The Rana Plaza disaster in 2013 highlighted the unsafe working conditions in garment factories. Finally, the acute issue of displacement due to climate impacts climate refugees. 6 targets for a sustainable textile industry. In order to address these challenges, the fashion and textiles industry must achieve 6 key targets. First, to cut carbon dioxide emissions by 8% or more per year, aiming for carbon neutrality by 2050. Second, to halt net loss of habitats and even reverse biodiversity losses, aiming for the textiles industry to contribute to protecting 30% of the planet. Third, to minimize the land use change, to halt the deforestation, and to triple climate-smart agriculture, aiming for the textile industry to contribute in restoring 20% of the world's land area. Fourth, to reduce the freshwater consumption by 30%, with the textile industry aiming to maintain total freshwater withdrawals below 40% of renewable supplies in all watersheds. Fifth, the transitioning to more circular management of plant nutrients and comply with national air and water quality policies all along the supply chain, aiming for the textile industry to contribute to improving nutrient use efficiency by 50%. And sixth, to prevent the release of harmful chemical substances and have the use of pesticides, aiming for a fully circular and restorative production system. How sustainability can be achieved in textile industry. Sustainability in the textile industry can be achieved through sustainable materials and fibers, thus, organic and regenerative farming, alternative fibers, or recycled fibers. Second, through water and energy efficiency, thus, through waterless and low-water dyeing, closed-loop water systems, or renewable energy sources. Third, through circular economy practices. These are designed for durability, recycling and upcycling, or zero-waste pattern design. Fourth, through chemical management and reduced toxics. These are the eco-friendly dyes and finishes, and certifications and standards. Fifth, through ethical labor practices. Among those are fair wages and safe conditions, gender equality and worker rights, and community development. Sixth, through transparency and traceability. Thus means through supply chain transparency or environmental impact labels. And seventh, through consumer education and engagement. These are the eco-conscious branding and education and encouraging sustainable consumption. Sustainable textile materials. Sustainable materials have a reduced environmental impact throughout their life cycle that helps to lower the industry's carbon footprint, reduce water consumption, and limit harmful waste and chemicals. Key categories include natural fibers, recycled materials, and bio-based materials. These materials offer environmental and social advantages, contributing to responsible production and consumption patterns in the textile industry. Business models for sustainability. Different sustainable and circular business models have evolved and are practiced by companies in the textile and clothing sector. The majority of them focus mainly on the environmental aspect of sustainability. Circular product design business model. This model focuses on creating textiles and apparel designed to minimize waste, maximize product life cycle, and ensure materials can be reused, recycled, or biodegraded at the end of their use. Designed for recycling or intentional design business model. This model is giving emphasis in the creation of products with end-of-life recovery in mind, meaning that they can be easily disassembled and the recovery potential of the materials used is expanded with the use of innovative technologies. Product Service Systems, PSS, business model. In this model, businesses retain ownership of their goods while offering services such as leasing, renting, maintenance, or repair such as clothing rental, leasing programs, sharing wardrobes, and repair or maintenance services. Resource Recovery Business Model. This model focuses on reclaiming and reprocessing materials from used products or industrial waste. On-Demand Business Model. It has focus in the production of textiles and apparel only when there is confirmed consumer demand. This approach eliminates overproduction and minimizes stock that cannot be sold. Product Life Extension Business Model. This model's main focus is on increasing the lifespan of textiles and apparel through strategies such as repair, refurbishment, resale, and reuse without modifying the design and functionality of products. Product life cycle extension, reuse business model, where products are designed to last longer through concepts such as modularity, which enables one product to become another. Finally, coordinating circular value chains through data business model. This model uses digital technologies such as blockchain and radio frequency identification, RFID, QR codes, and data systems to enhance transparency, to optimize resource flows, and to facilitate collaboration across the textile value chain. Circular inputs and/or supplies. The ecosystemic approach business model. The focus of this model is on the design and the manufacture of textiles that are using sustainable, renewable, and recyclable inputs, thus minimizing the use of virgin raw materials, extending the value chain's lifespan, and lowering dependency on limited resources. Collection and reverse logistics business model. This model focuses on the systematic collection of used, unwanted, or end-of-life textiles or garments from consumers or businesses to enable reuse, recycling, or responsible disposal. Recovery of secondary raw materials byproducts business model. This model focuses on reclaiming and repurposing materials from manufacturing byproducts or secondary raw materials. Dematerialization and digitalization business model. This model uses technology to minimize the physical production of goods and streamline processes through digital solutions. Sharing economy and platforms business model. This model focuses on providing access to textiles and apparel through sharing systems rather than ownership. This model connects users via digital platforms, enabling them to borrow or exchange clothing and other textiles. Collaborative consumption. This model is a consumption trend in which consumers, instead of buying new fashion products, have access to already existing garments, either through alternative opportunities to acquire individual ownership or through usage options for fashion products owned by others. Thank you for your attention.